Welcome. I think we're recording. Welcome to the Flux Dev Meeting.
Okay, some news, good news to start with. Deepti and I will be talking at KubeCon NA. We got our maintainer track talk accepted. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We also have finalized the FluxCon preparation, and I think in 2 weeks from now it will be public. So we are all sorted for KubeCon in November. Looking forward to that. Yeah, that's the big news for today. We can continue with the agenda. Oh, please here.
I actually haven't set up the agenda, Doc.
I believe the agenda for today primarily, first and foremost, includes a review of and discussion of solutions around the hotel stuff that Adrian has proposed. We mentioned last week, I think, spending this meeting on that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Oh, it says next EU dev meeting dedicated to hotel. So
Okay.
2 weeks from now,
That's,
but Adrian
1 week from now.
Or yeah, one week from now. So if there's other topics, it is scheduled for next week. I can leave a placeholder in for next week as well.
I had brought up the support for private cloud, but I think we discussed it offline, and that thread is updated with the issue for supporting like custom Azure endpoints with the workload identity for various scenarios. I think it had come up last meeting, and we thought we'd discuss it in this meeting, but I think I'd shared an update online, and I think Matthias responded, and I have a PR out for that, which I think he took a look as well. So yeah, I think we're making progress on that. Nothing to discuss much.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I have to review today.
I was typing. Can I just take a note on that? What were you talking about?
Yeah, I will. I had opened an issue to, so currently our Azure OIDC auth package, it supports the well-known clouds, which is Azure Public, China, and the US Gov Cloud. But there are a lot of scenarios where customers have like secret clouds and super secret clouds and other private clouds, which don't have like well-known endpoints for like the resource manager audience, and there's like a variety of properties which can differ. We don't use all of them, and in the older Azure SDK, there was a hack there to support all of these clouds. But since then, the Azure, like the newer SDK, has taken a different path. That environment structure, it's no longer built into the auth package or into the Azure SDK package, and various like users of that SDK have taken different approaches to deal with this. So I'd summarized all that in the issue, and or like what we could do for Flux as well. And Matthias and I had a discussion on that issue. I will paste that in the agenda just if folks want to review.
Is this a PKG?
Yeah, the PKG issue.
You know what issue number it is?
Yes, it is 996.
Cool. I put that in the chat. Checking if it works now. I guess I had the wrong. Oh yeah. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I have that in the chat now. Or I mean in the notes.
Oh, thank you.
Issues. Struggling. Okay, thanks, Deepti. Do we have other things we wanted to bring up? How are we doing right now on deadlines? I feel like I'm supposed to be tracking this, and I've it's just like stuff related to KubeCon, CFPs. Does anyone need to apply for the maintainer scholarship or contributor scholarship to attend KubeCon? Is that something that I should be herding cats on at
Yes,
all?
yes, I'm interested in applying.
Okay. I think if I recall vaguely, I think it's a September application deadline, but like the sooner you get those in, the better. Because then I can even just like send a message to like Chris A or something and be like, hey, we sent this in and they can earmark it. Let me see if I can find a list of the deadlines. I think did I sticky them in our internal maintainer channel?
Separate application for travel fund and another for maintainer scholarship.
Maintainer fund is the thing that feeds the scholarship for KubeCon. I think that's the same,
Okay,
I think. Um, where the heck are the... Oh, I did not pin this.
We we
Just for...
also
Uh-huh.
we also have the Flux booth, right? Reserved.
Yes. Yeah, that
Yeah.
should be reserved already. Um, and then actually I think they sent out uh an email about PR and support from the CNCF for projects. And I am just realizing now that I have not even opened that email. Um, so I'll probably take a look at that. But this is a good reminder to me to stop thinking about queuing logic for hours on end, and remember that we need to market our project at KubeCon. So I will follow up on deadlines and things like that. I think the maintainer scholarship applications are the only thing that's currently outstanding, and then I'll get back to the CNCF on their PR help. Maybe we'll do some blog posts and stuff at some point. We'll wanna Kingdon, I think you normally work with Tama on getting the KubeCon website set up.
mm-hmm.
I guess lately I've been trying to take on the things that Tamo used to do, so maybe I have some learning to do there.
Yeah, we could look at it together.
Okay,
It's pretty simple.
cool. Yeah, I would think that we would probably have to just like create calendar events and update links and link to the release blog posts and all of that stuff. It's probably sounds like what, 2 days of work?
It's probably going to be easier than usual because you are going to be comfortable working with Markdown and Git, where Tomo is not exactly.
Okay. Um, yeah. I feel like I won't underestimate the number of systems that I'm gonna have to log into, and like if we have to send a mailing list thing and stuff, but um sounds good. When do we do that? It's August. KubeCon's not until November.
We can start building the website now that the schedule is published, I think.
Okay.
That can be,
FluxCon schedule is not published just
that's
yet.
right. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and wait for that at a minimum. And then we can look at getting that out of the way.
Yeah, I would start end of August,
Okay.
right? We will have FluxCon. You already have all the Flux related talks for KubeCon, so we can have the site ready, and then just keep it up to date when we do the Flux 2.7 release. Add there, let's say, a link to the release blog post, and that's it. but the majority of the content will be available end of this month. So and I know Kindle has like this toggle, so don't we this even if we write a page, we can visit it, but it's not displayed on the main website until Kindle flips the switch. So there is nothing stopping us from building this uh way ahead of time and have it ready. Um, so yeah, for the Flux boost, we also have to figure out uh, the people that will be at the booth. Dipti, are you at KubeCon for the whole conference, right? Can you help us with the Flux booth?
Yep, sure thing. Yeah. Happy to.
Cool.
What does it
Cool.
involve?
Being there answering questions.
Okay, sounds good.
It's pretty fun.
So
Yeah,
talking to customers then, yeah.
yeah, all the end users. It's
Yeah,
really it's really cool.
cool.
And like the last KubeCon that we had in Europe, just like with so much of the Flux team like coming on in full force was just there's so much good energy. Everyone's just so excited. So
Mm.
it's really nice.
Yeah.
It'll be so cool to have you there. Very excited to see you again as well, Kingdom.
Yeah.
Mid-days, you're gonna come to the US KubeCon as well, right?
I'd like to. Yes.
Yeah. That you're planning on it, right? Um,
Sorry, what?
are were you already planning on it or
Yeah, I'm planning on it.
okay. Of course, Stefan, you and DT are speaking.
Yeah.
That
Francesco did there as well, like last time, but he will not have much time to spend on the booth. So I think mostly on the booth it will be you, me, Deepti, Kindan, if you are coming, Mateus, because the most of the questions are really deep tech about Flux. So whoever is there needs to really know Flux. And know deeply they are not customers. They don't pay shit. They use it.
all the when people ask about enterprisey things, we can always talk about like what the project offers, but we can always redirect them to the control plane, the Azure booths, the GitLab booths, etc. Anyone who provides Flux products as well.
Yeah. But the
By the
question will
way,
be more about deep about Flux,
Yeah.
not commercial things.
Every now and then we have like a CIO or a CTO walk up and they're like, hey, Wiz is flagging my Helm controller image. How do I get security updates? And then, that's like a nice way to be like, well, this is when we update stuff, but in the project, and these are the people that you can talk to about support. So, uh,
by the way, I was just gonna say that I might only be able to come for the first 2 days. I have a personal commitment on in the middle of the week on the Wednesday.
so maybe only for FluxCon then.
Yeah, first FluxCon's first date, right? On
FluxCon would be considered like a day
Day
zero,
zero.
yeah, event.
but it's on the Monday.
Is it Monday or Tuesday?
I think Monday is FluxCon, Tuesday, Wednesday, other Tuesday, Wednesday, and half of Thursday.
Or okay, so Tuesday is day one this year.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can go for Monday and Tuesday.
Cool. Sweet.
So is the booth there on like all the 3 days of KubeCon, or is it just like a
Yes.
specific slot?
Yeah.
It's
Flux being a graduated project, if as long as we ask for the booth, they will give us a booth the entire time. George Castro is the CNCF person, or head of ecosystem who or no, community. Anyway, he runs the project efforts at KubeCon, so also the lightning talks, and like the project lightning talks and all of that. But it's in a dedicated space called the Project Pavilion, where all of the open source project booths are. And some projects only get time slots, but we have a good track record with George of actually staffing our booth and actually using it as well. So if we do not use our booth, then it's not necessarily a take it for granted kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, anyway, Lee, please check the booth status. Like, make sure we are all set there.
Yeah, I
Because
sent some
it's
personal DMs to George and filled in the application for it. And then I think Tama also double filled in the application for it.
okay.
Because we were not communicating. So we'll definitely have our project booth. And
Samo will also be there because she got the talk in for lightning talk on Flux.
yes, she's doing the Project Lightning talk as well
Yeah.
again for this KubeCon. So
Yeah. Yeah, so also have Tamo there. I don't know. Now she
Last
probably
time she
not.
also was the one who organized like the booth duty time, like for everybody, like
I
the
think now
schedule.
she will do it for IBM, so I'm not sure if
Okay.
we'll have to do it.
yeah, I'm doing my Tamo has done a lot of free work for our project over the last year and a half. And she's done it not without thanks, but without pay for sure. So I'm trying to take some of those responsibilities and make sure that we have a sustainable procedure for doing everything that Tamo has held together. She's a
Yes.
Makes
huge
sense.
reason why we even have this meeting. Cool. Will be good to see her.
Oh, so she's in IBM now.
Yeah,
Nice.
newly announced pretty recently. So she's gonna be doing a community and ecosystem there, I think. So um,
Yeah, that's great news.
is Craig still at IBM as well? As a result of the Hashi?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, that's enough on marketing deadlines and logistics and stuff. I will follow up on that today and tomorrow and make sure to keep my to-do list straight. Um, so we basically just had the issue that Deepti wanted to bring up, and then I think Adrian's just kind of around listening in. So there is time to talk about the hotel stuff, but that's really scheduled for next week. We're only 23 minutes into the meeting, so we can always end early, but we have plenty of time to talk about whatever anybody wants to talk about. Like,
Let's talk a little bit about the Azure stuff.
okay.
I'm looking at the pull request. So we are still going with environment variables, right?
Yeah, but it's like a well-known one that we found, that Deeply found.
So it's
Okay, so
just to
this
the
one,
configuration file. So there's one environment variable which will point to the path of a configuration file, and the configuration file will define like the rest of the endpoints. It'll be the
okay, great.
responsibility of the
Yeah.
person who sets up the controller Flux controller pod to make sure that they have whatever a config map or something volume mounted and exposed, and that file path will be set by the environment variable.
Yeah,
Cool, cool.
that's a good
So,
solution because we already have something like that in another provider, like which is by default from the Google SDKs, right? They have that Google application credentials environment variable that points also to a JSON file and everything. So it's a pattern
oh
that
yeah, okay.
it's
Yeah,
common.
that's
Yeah.
great. So you mount the volume, it can come from whatever, we don't care, can be secret, can be config map, can be actual volume, can be something injected at admission. And only if we have that environment variable, only then we go and read the file. If
Yep.
the
Yeah.
file is not there or is malformed or whatever, we are just going to error out in that particular reconciler with ready status false, whatever. I couldn't parse the JSON. Dipti, what we should be really careful here is not log anything out of the content of the file.
Mhm.
Right, I'm guessing in there are all sorts of keys and whatever. So
No,
if
no
there
keys
is,
actually. No keys. We have
It's
like,
mostly endpoints. Yeah.
yeah, just some endpoints and nothing, no secret information there actually.
so we can log the unmarshal error as it is without doing any.
Yeah, no secrets.
Ever.
Cool. Because the Google JSON has secrets,
Yeah,
has the private.
Depends.
it
Depends.
just
It has several different formats. It can be a JSON of a service account private key, or it can be, for example, um, how we do cross cloud federation. In that case, you have to mount a file that has no secrets, right? It's OIDC, so there's no
Yeah,
secrets.
but
So
for the service account we have it, so we make sure we don't log that stuff, and it never gets logged even if it's not
yeah,
unparsed. So if
yeah, but
there is
for Azure,
any
there's no
case
secrets.
where that config file can contain secrets, we need to be careful. Otherwise, we are introducing the CV in Flux.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm
No, it's
saying.
fine. Like that won't have any. The whole library is for secretless authentication. So
Okay.
it's fine.
Yeah, I'm specifically the variable Google application credentials says it's a credential, whereas this is just Azure environment file path. So
Yeah.
if the naming is correct and no one ever puts any secrets in there ever in the future, then maybe
Yeah.
it's fine to not worry about the logging, but
This is totally fine. It's like, if anybody puts a secret there, it's like,
I
what
feel
the fuck
like
are you doing?
handling the error by just saying like failed to unmarshal, and then the environment variable name with the file path, and then like if we want logging, like logging specific keys would probably be better, but yeah.
Yeah, I
The
think I've in my PR, I've tested all of these scenarios. I've logged the outputs if anybody's interested in seeing the error messages that we are sending in these cases. I
Okay.
don't think it's emitting any secrets. It's just has the endpoints, and we are not even picking the entire environment struct from upstream. We are
Okay.
just picking up the 2, 3 endpoints that we
Oh,
use
nice.
for
Okay.
the OCI repository scenarios.
Okay. Because this is not only about logging. It also goes through a Kubernetes event. It gets to notification controller. From there, it can go to some Slack. So it's like, it's not only logs. It can get anywhere. So if we only pick keys that we know for sure these are URLs, and we don't just parse the whole thing that can have
Yeah.
whatever is in there, that's great. I haven't realized we are just picking these keys here, but yes,
Yeah,
now
like
I see.
I even added a comment in the PR today to extend the comment on the function to say we are copying this struct here because one, we're not aware of any other upstream libraries we could import this struct from, and two, because we are only using a few fields.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do we need for this MTLS as well when we do this handshake?
MTLS? I
Yes,
don't
to
think
talk
so.
to the, no?
What do you mean, like with
Like,
search
for
sequence log?
example, when we discover the GitHub Enterprise, but on-prem deployments, and this is very similar in my understanding. Like, you use Azure as a service, totally as a service.
I got it.
Then this is more about I'm paying Microsoft a ton of money, but they are not running it for me. I'm running it. And when you run it, then you are responsible to set your own certificates, your own CAs, your own everything, right?
That's a
And
good question for Deepti.
right. what we did with GitHub Enterprise, we assumed that whoever hosts their own GitHub Enterprise, it will host it on the public internet. So we'll just connect to the HTTPS there, no problem, right? Then we discovered that actually GitHub Enterprise told their customers, you should set MTLS when you deploy it on-prem. So now the GitHub secret for the GitHub app now also has to contain CA client cert client authority, right?
No,
Certificate authority.
not that one. I mean, we are
What do you mean?
actually, because in the GitHub repo API we do have a single secret ref. So yeah, we
Yes.
pull everything from there, right? So we pull the GitHub app plus the certs. Yeah, that's true.
Yes, of course.
So yeah, so the question is like, is that the same case in private clouds for Azure? Like, do you need a CA to talk to these endpoints we are using here? Do you know that?
I think, and I was working with a customer where they do set this up. They are responsible for importing the root CA certs, and there is a mechanism there to get the certs into the system and get that set up. I think we were able to validate this end to end. So I don't think anything additional was needed
Okay.
for Azure at least. But we used an older version of the SDK, not the latest. Only things have gotten refactored there, but I don't expect there to be any additional things that we need from that respect. But yeah, it was
Cool.
needed to be set up by the customer. They needed to use, I was trying to find out the link where we spoke about that, but they were able to import the CA certs into the host path and get that set up without anything needed from
Yeah,
the Flux side.
yeah. We were just reviewing how the HTTP client works for the library, and yeah, it's just proxy and timeout what we have right now. So it should be using the system root CAs, right?
Yeah. So they will mount it there, their own trust, and that's it. Okay. Okay. We are all good then.
Okay.
Well. Okay. Adrian, you want to say something?
Yeah. Yeah, hello. Sorry because I couldn't talk previously.
Nice.
Yeah. So well, I got a few comments from Matthias from some specific topics, but what I wanted to talk about regarding the hotel is basically the questions I raised in the PR itself. Things about naming conventions. And also a couple of concerns that I have in terms of how hotel manage the traces and everything. Yeah, one thing that I think we discussed previously, which is this this thing about the revision ID, that we may expect that differs between, for example, a Git repository and OCR repository or any other kind of source. So the problem there is like, imagine that I have a Git repository as a main source, and then I have in my repo a collection of OCR repositories or Helm repositories, any other kind of source. The problem is like it's difficult to trace that because as the revision is different, the checksum will be different as well, which refers to the trace ID. So this was one of the things that I was trying to find out how to tackle somehow. And yeah, this yeah, aside of the sources, are the questions that I raised in the PR.
Okay. There is no way of linking sources together. They are completely independent. So I don't think this should be a concern. What we should reflect is this Flux customization has all these Flux customizations, which can be many more, all have this a common source. So I should see all of them. Of course, if the alert catches them all in the same span with the Git repo or the OCI repo or whatever, then for Helm, if Helm has an OCI repo source, even if the Helm YAML, the Helm release YAML is in some Git repo. That's managed by the Flux customization. So I don't see how a trace could capture the two, because in Flux they are completely decoupled. Like a Helm release has its own source, a customization has its own source. They don't have to be the same. Incidentally, a Flux customizations applies a Helm release. But I don't think there is any way in Flux, because this is how Flux has been designed to be completely decoupled, and all things are responsible for their tiny bit of work. So there is no actual trace that you have anywhere. Like when Helm controller reconciles a Helm release, Helm controller does not know that the Helm release got on the cluster from customized controller that got the Helm release YAML from some Git repo. There is no such information. A Helm release can get on a cluster with kubectl apply or whatever. Helm controller shouldn't care about it, right? That's how it's designed. So I don't think we should focus on this use case. I think the focus is Git repo customization or OCI repo Helm release. Also, like how we have one Git repo and many Flux customizations, which is very common for the majority of users. Like if you look at the Flux 2 example and so on, you have the root customization, which is called Flux system, like the namespace. That applies other customizations like infrastructure apps, whatever monitoring, and all of these have the same source, the Git repo. So I should see, if I do a commit in my repo, I should see in the span the Flux system Git repository, then Flux system customization, then infra customization, apps customization, tenants customization, right? In a single span. And I think that already works with what you have in your pull request. Now for
sorry.
For Helm, there is a different use case where many organizations have this generic Helm, apply this generic Helm chart pattern where they build a Helm chart, let's say Node.js, and they have hundreds of microservices, the apps, which are built with Node.js, and all of them use this generic Helm chart as their source. So you have one OCI repo object in a namespace, and in that namespace, you'll have hundreds, possibly thousands of Helm releases, all referring to the same OCI repo. Now, if I go on a trace, and let's say the platform team publishes a new version of this generic Helm chart, Node.js version 1.0.1. What will happen is source control will pull the new chart, then will issue an event, and Helm control will do this upgrade of all the Helm releases, which have this common source, and will upgrade to this chart version. Of course, I should be able to see in my trace OCI repo Node.js, and then microservice 1, microservice 2, microservice 3, all of them running in parallel while they reconcile, right?
Okay.
Now, if they have dependencies between them, you will see more like a waterfall where, let's say, the Helm release called backend will reconcile first, then all the things that depend on them, and you should have this nice trace view of reconciliation times, and you should also see from that Jaeger trace or what UI you are using, doesn't matter. It should also reflect the dependency order, which is very nice because people are not really fully aware how it depends on affects the actual duration of a whole reconciliation, especially when you have this. It only makes sense when we have shared sources, right? Otherwise, if you have Helm chart dedicated for each app, a trace will only have two things: the OCI repo, which is the Helm chart, and then the dedicated Helm release that uses that Helm chart. But I'm telling you, a lot of large organizations are using this generic Helm chart. So for them it will be very useful to see, yes, I'm changing my chart, and this has triggered like a whole array of upgrades, and they have depends on, so everything will go like waterfall. Then it will be like many things will run in parallel. Right, so we could actually test this by having an OCI repo for the pod info chart, then a hand release called backend, one called frontend, one called auth, let's say. All of them will install pod info, it doesn't matter, right? And backend, frontend will depend on backend. And you should see in the trace first, okay, I'm bumping pod info chart, then these three microservices, one after the other.
Okay.
We can talk next week. I can prepare some YAMLs for you, some examples that you can run while you do the testing, and figuring out we are like solving these major use cases that we've seen with Flux users, where I think tracing will be very valuable for them.
Okay, yeah, that's great, and yeah, really appreciate it. About that, I have one question regarding, for example, the alerts. What about if I miss to set up in my alerts some of these objects? So imagine that I set up my OC repository, but not my head release. I should just get the first trace, and that's all. Nothing
Yes.
downstream. Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of
Yeah.
a user mistake, so to say.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after in that pull request, right, where we add this feature to notification controller, we will have some documentation in the API how to set up hotel, but I think to actually fully deliver this feature, we'll also need a guide in the Flux website around tracing and hotel, where we tell people this is, if you want good traces, you should always add the source and all the reconcilers to the same alert, and explain to them why this is needed, because we use the ID, the shared ID, and so on, right? So we can actually, that's the role of a user guide, to tell them how to configure correctly the things to get the best results out of their traces.
Okay. That's good. And just the last one. I was going through the code. What I've seen is like you have different providers, but notifiers. It's called notifiers. And the thing about that is like I was thinking about if hotel should behave as the rest, because I created, let's say, a new type with regards of adding a new file there under the notifier, but I haven't added that into the API because I thought that the hotel was going to work in the background. And
Yeah, I have a
work
question about that actually.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, I was looking at the PR and I see that you did what you just said, like there's a new notifier for
Yeah.
hotel. But also I'm seeing that in the forwarder notifier, that is the one we use for generic and generic HMAC provider types, you added also you're creating the hotel tracer there and posting. So in these two provider at the moment, only like these two provider types would get traces. And now my question is like, is this how it's supposed to be? Like,
Oh, no.
yeah,
We can't touch the forwarder in any way. Like hotel will be its own provider. You'll create a
right.
provider type hotel,
Okay.
and in the notifier hotel.go, you will basically receive the specification of this very specific provider, which will be of type hotel, where you'll have the URL, the proxy, the headers, the TLS config, everything ready for you to send it. So you don't need to touch the forwarder. We are now creating a forwarder which is specific to hotel. We can't touch the generic one which everybody uses and has nothing to do with hotel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I implemented that because what I understood is like we would like to have this in the background, and the other problem was like some of the tools support OTel already. So I didn't know how to manage that because, for example, you already have Grafana as notifier. And as far as I've seen, it supports OTel. So I didn't know how to integrate that into the existing notifiers.
No,
That's
no.
why
I mean,
yeah, that
the Grafana notifier has nothing to do with OTel. Has to do with Grafana notations, which have nothing to do with OTel, right?
Okay.
So
okay.
we are going to implement the OTel provider.
Mhm.
If you want to point it to your Grafana endpoint, the URL will be for Grafana, but the endpoint should be the OTel ingester of Grafana, not the annotation one that we have in the Grafana provider, right? Like
Okay.
how I see the OTel provider is very similar to the forwarder one, but instead of forwarding JSON payloads, it actually forwards OTel, it
Traces.
transforms and creates OTel traces, and then it's
Yeah.
up to the user in the OTel provider custom resource to say, send it to this endpoint, which is Grafana, can be, there are like hundreds of OTel
Yeah.
receivers, right? You can have,
Yeah.
I don't know, Datadog, whatever is there, Yager, and so on, right? So
Okay.
yeah, this should be its own thing with a custom. You'll create a custom resource provider, other provider with the type in there set to OTel, and you
Okay.
have to set the URL, the secret, MTLS, everything that you already have. So basically, you'll have to move that code, which is in forwarder, inside the
own.
OTel.go notified. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Sounds perfect. Indeed, I mean the auto follows this barely the same structure as the forwarder, so it should be pretty easy to decouple that and add it as a new type. Okay. Yeah, I can work on that. Cool.
Cool.
Yeah. So I will move
talk to
that
you
out.
next week then, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you
Let's,
for bringing this up. I didn't want to bring this up. I just wanted to be around and see what was going on, basically.
Cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm glad you were able to talk about it at all. I remember maybe this wasn't going to be a good time for you. So thanks for joining and talking about it already. We got some work done on that. I still have the hotel discussion scheduled for next week, so we won't miss that on the EU time slot.
Perfect.
Does anyone have any other agenda items? Otherwise, I just wanted to do a little congratulations for Kapizawa. Yeah. I think maybe the only other thing is Stefan, Mateus, and I have been doing some benchmarks of Flux as just part of the work that we do for some clients at Control Plane. In Flux Operator, newly merged is a couple of dashboards that help you look at some performance sensitive metrics for people who are working with lots of resources at scale. So there's some new dashboards in Flux Operator. Go check it out. Things that help you look at like the queue latency and stuff, and just to see if Flux is performing well and if it's causing load for your Kubernetes control plane as well, from a Flux standpoint. And then we are just looking at some of the internals of the Flux controllers to see if there are opportunities for us to make them behave better when there's lots of errors and stuff like that. Behavior is already pretty good, but there's always room to explore improvements. And I guess as a nice send off for the meeting, is it corny if I share my screen? Maybe we should do a little screen share. This could be fun. Just wanted to say welcome to Kapizawa, who's been contributing for the better part of this year now, doing all kinds of stuff. Kapizawa requested membership in the community repo with Hida and Mateus as sponsors. Mateus has done so many code reviews for a number of refactoring improvements and features regarding the OCI efforts, and just really good vibes on this PR. Also, I noticed that Kabizawa has a pretty cool GitHub README. So welcome to Shu Kutsuzawa as a project member, and thanks for your contributions. I know sometimes you listen to these meetings, and we're so glad to be working with you. So yeah.
Yep.
All right. We might, I guess, close our meeting a little early, which would be nice for.
Cool.
And,
Nice for once, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Capizoa will dethrone me in the number of commits. I mean, he contributed in 1 month like others in 10 years. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Bye bye everyone. I'll see you next week.
Bye.
Until
See you,
next week.
everybody.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
everyone.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.